Well, it turns out when you add goals to a game of keep away, that is what's going to happen. Argentina defeat the US men's national team 4-0 in the Copa America Centenario semi-final. Now, it was predicted. Yes, me and Jason did a very short and sweet, to the point prediction beforehand. You can see that on our channel where we said that you just can't stop Messi. Now, I'm going to break this video up into certain parts. I'm going to talk about Messi's brilliance for a little bit because, you know, I just love to get on board the bandwagon, which shouldn't even be a bandwagon anymore. It should just be a wagon that takes you to sanity. You know that he's the best player in the world now, so just get on it and stop being insane, okay? So that's one point. The next point I'm going to break up is why the USA didn't give the best account of themselves. And the last point is that it's not a fair answer to just state, oh, we just lost to Argentina, right? So, and Argentina are great. That's the reason why. No, I'm going to touch on why it has to be broken down a little bit more so than that. So the first thing is Lionel Messi's brilliance, right? First goal, I would say an absolute army of US men's national team players come out to him to close him down because they're told you got to stop Messi from finding space. You either get close to him and stop him, or you back up and don't, I would say, give him the easy outlet. They all stormed out and they allowed him for just this easy dink over the top, and then it's just miscommunication from Guzan and Beckerman, a problem that reigned throughout the US men's national team performance throughout because they just weren't on the same page. Far too many players were not on the same page, and Lavezzi just nods it over the goalkeeper, who I think is a little bit questionable at times. I still would have preferred the I would say the Secretary of Defence leader, and that is Tim Howard in the sticks. I still think he would have been the better option rather than Guzan, the relegated goalkeeper from Aston Villa. But anyway, we move forward and we discuss the next part of Lionel Messi's brilliance, which again, if Jason knows full well how angry the YouTube commentators get when you don't put the link in, he will put the link in. Here is Lionel Messi's goal. It will be in the links in the description below. A phenomenal free kick. Whilst most people bend it over the wall and look to try and just use the ball and the dip to try and evade the goalkeeper, who's probably expecting it to go to his right, he just bends it into the goalkeeper's top left corner, which is so difficult to do. You just have to understand the technique that is needed to get the ball at that angle into that area of the goal. I mean, we see players like Dimitri Payet do it on a regular basis. Messi has, for the longest time, been one of the best free kick takers in the world. It's almost because he's so good at everything else that people might not put him to the top of that list, but by God, he's right up there with some of the best. So that was just a beautiful free kick into the top corner, and he broke a record, now the all-time, deservedly so, top goal scorer for the Argentinian national team. Gabriel Batistuta was a phenomenal striker, a poacher in the box, and that just showcases that whilst Lionel Messi does everything, he can add the goals to go along with the many attributes to his game. So he broke that record, broke the internet, as we see with the trending meme. I was just waiting for one of my American friends to be like, who's this Messi guy? The Mike Francesas of the world who are complaining about 12 pages on Sports Illustrated. Give me a break, Jesus Christ. Either way, then we move forward to Jurgen Klinsmann's game plan. First of all, he's going to argue with the referee, and he's going to make some changes, bring on young Pulisic, and he's going to try and push a little bit higher up and press Argentina. But the thing about Argentina is they like to press back themselves. They won't sit back. They are comfortable in chaotic environment. They will knock the ball around in their own 6-yard box if they could get away with it. Romero himself was even picking passes, just floating them into the middle of the park. It was beautiful to watch. Mascherano, aside from Messi, was the best player in the park. So Higuain was a man who turned in that goal. John Brooks getting caught trying to play an offside position. Not going to heap too much criticism on Brooks because I think he has got pass marks in this tournament. I think that he has been very encouraging as that centrepiece at the back of the US's defence. So they tried to play an offside trap. He get caught out. Higuain had 2 bites at the cherry, and he put the second one home. And then, very similar to the point which will lead in, it's going to be an alley for the Youth, which will be my points on the USA. It's just a lack of composure. Michael Bradley gives it into the middle of the park, misread, and then the ball found its way to Messi. When Argentina put that high pressure on, they know when to step in and execute and win the ball back. And Messi wins the ball back, and as unselfish can be, squares it to Higuain to grab his second, and Higuain drills it home as the poacher-like finisher that he is. So that was world class from Argentina at times. Even without the ball, they were so, I would say, brilliant in a way that they were able to suffocate their opponent and just nullify any sort of comfort the US had on the ball. The US aren't as comfortable as most teams in the world, especially in this tournament are a lot of the South American teams. But even if they were, they didn't even have a chance to explore that comfort because right there, Mascherano was pushing that midfield and suffocating the space. It all came from him, something that Michael Bradley didn't do enough. And I think that collectively, Argentina know how to press as a team. They know how to win the ball back. The final, I'm hoping, is going to be Argentina versus Chile. No discredit to Colombia, but the way Chile play, I just can't wait for that final. Both teams pressing each other so high, aggressive in their attack, counter-attacking football, hard tackles, quick, aggressive football. It's all you can ask for in a final. But anyway, the USA. So they didn't give the best account of themselves. Some of their decision making, they're going to look back and they're going to think, by God, what was I doing? Why was I trying to play a 40-yard pass to no one when I could just play it 5 yards and try and keep possession? And I know that sounds a lot easier when I'm just stating it here, sitting here. Scotland never played in a major tournament, but I've watched Scotland play against big teams like Germany and give a good account of themselves. And I'm not even going to reference Scotland. I'm going to reference Northern Ireland. Different tournament, different pace, but Northern Ireland come up against the world champions, Germany. They lose 1-0. It could have been 4 or 5. Trust me, the goalkeeper for Northern Ireland had a field day. Phenomenal. But when they had the ball, they were trying to play at Germany's level. They were trying to knock it in and around the triangles. They were trying to keep possession because they know when you give that ball up, you've just spent at least 3 or 4 minutes, which is a long time in football, chasing shadows and chasing space. And when you get the ball, you can't afford, energy-wise, to give it away. It's simple logistics of football. Jurgen Klinsmann should have been drilling it into the head of Bradley, whoever, Zuzi, Beckerman, whoever was on the possession of the ball. Look for the easy option, move off the ball, create some space. Instead, they weren't moving enough, they were panicking, and bang, it was sent to the corner, or bang, it was sent into the wall, which is Zardes, bounces right back. He's not the worst player, but that guy needs to learn how to hold up the ball. And that was where the United States broke down. And I'm not saying that that would have prevented a loss, but it would have given them a better chance to push higher up, potentially grab a goal and put some pressure on the Argentinian defence, because Chile put pressure on Argentina's back line, and it showed that they had a chance. And if they took their chances early, it may have been a different opening day for Argentina. So they didn't give the best account of themselves. And again, Maxwell style, this all leads into the next point. The final point is that you can't just state that Argentina are just so great that you won that game, because that's going to cloud the fact that there is some changes that have to be made. I don't think it's managerial. A lot of people will go to that and say that the manager has to depart now because he's not delivered against one of the world's best teams. But let's be realistic. What were you expecting? What was the ideal goal? Winning the tournament? You're not at that level. You're not even close to that level yet. I think that this will overall be considered a successful tournament. Even if you go in and don't get third place and you end up fourth, you're still the fourth best team. And who's ahead of you? Chile, Colombia, and Argentina, countries that are engraved in the world of football, that produce talent week in, week out, at all stages of world football. I do videos on this all the time. It's all about the youth developing that competitive level throughout. Not wooden spoon awards for participating, but wanting to win, wanting to play the game, wanting to learn the game. So just bypassing the fact that you lost against a team that breeds world footballers, great world footballers non-stop, I think is only going to be detrimental to the whole system that we're trying to build here. And I feel like I'm part of it, trying to get the truth across. Because Alexei Lalas and those guys in Fox are not going to tell you that. They're going to say the players aren't good enough, you have to go and do this. Well, it's not as simple as that. 2 weeks ago you were saying Michael Bradley had the potential to be world class. No, he doesn't. You need playmaking defensive midfielders in there. He's a hard-working player that can't play a 5-yard pass and then randomly plays a great 40-yard pass. You need to develop good, I would say, ball-playing defensive midfield players that can knock the ball around and act in those triangles like Mascherano could do. And you have the numbers, the amount of kids that play soccer, you can develop players like this, but it all has to be competitive and it all has to be collective, and everyone has to be behind the fact that this country can go on. The worst you're going to finish is fourth in a very competitive tournament. That's not a bad tournament when you think about it. But again, the majority will look to blame Klinsmann for this loss, or blame it on the fact that Argentina just are a far better team, which they are. But there is talent there that the US can develop further. You've got the young breed of Bobby Wood, who I would have liked to have seen on the park, and Pulisic coming up. But the old guards need to either find a role or pass the buck, because you can't rely on Bradley or Wanilowski in the middle of the park, or Beckerman. Like, where are you going to get with those playmaking type of players? There's no playmake in there. There is no ability to play those passes collectively, consistently. It just doesn't happen. So that's my final point on the USA for that. So I'm not glazing over, sorry, should I say, the fact that it is a better team that beat you guys, a better team did beat you, but there are points to take into consideration. And I hope the next manager, if it's not Klinsmann, or even if it is Klinsmann, I don't heap all the criticism on Klinsmann like people do. I think that there is some lessons to be learned. And that was a harsh lesson today about not being composed on the ball against a world-class opponent with the world's greatest ever footballer. Let me know what you think. Comment section below. As always, it's been a pleasure, fellas. Hit me up on Twitter, Francis_Maxwell, and I'll see you soon. Here's a creepy wink.